Profanity. 3. Unholy land. A siren went off in the border control center in the West Bank. It was a signal for a minute of silence, one soldier told me, as today was Holocaust Memorial Day. I hadn't known. A siren for silence. I had listened to two muscled English party boys chat about Palestine being evil the entire bus ride from Jordan. I was surprised by what they said. I hadn't expected to hear this rhetoric so outright. My policy was to remain passive, in order to hear people's true opinions. I was a stranger in a strange land, and I wanted to get to know it. As we disembarked from the bus, one of the boys asked for my Instagram, which I gave him out of curiosity. His own account displayed him to be a DJ in Cyprus, from Newcastle in England, Geordie Shore. I wondered why he thought of Palestinians the way he did. At lunch, there was a loud whoosh overhead that nearly made me spit out my drink. I saw two jets whiz across the sky. The army is racing, the waitress told another nervous customer. I had taken a walk the day I arrived, Holocaust Memorial Day. Jerusalem was so sunny, bright and calm and warm. I walked along a residential side street and saw a man and a woman cross paths ahead of me, one stopping to pet the other's dog. They immediately started speaking loudly about Palestine. It's almost like a spy novel, with an evil supervillain trying to destroy civilization, said one, a white American man. In the time it took me to pass them, they had moved on to discussing the queer community. All these transgenders, they should just admit that they're dysfunctional. They can't function in society, said the other, a white South African woman. I turned back to look at them as they said this, and they both glared at me, as if daring me to say something. I walked on. They seemed to be strangers passing in the street. At the western wall, I was asked by an attendant to wear a cape-like modesty shawl. Your shoulders are exposed, which made me look like a large bat. It felt like a mark of disrepute. I approached the women's section of the wall, which was roughly a third of the size of the men's section. It was busy, packed. We crowded toward the wall. I watched schoolgirls dressed in black, rocking and crying as they prayed, with small brown books held to their faces. When I reached it myself, I touched the wall, and it felt warm, from the sun or from being touched so frequently. I wondered if others felt this warmth as a spiritual energy, as God. I felt it as the sun. At the gate to Temple Mount, no entry for non-Muslims, me. Machine guns, suspicion from the Palestinian soldiers, and an old Arabic man selling cold drinks. When he asked, I told him I was Irish. He smiled and didn't charge me for my bottle of water. The old city was filled with religious paraphernalia. You could buy a crown of thorns, priest vestments, t-shirts that said, I went to the Holy Land and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. As I walked back to the apartment where I was couch surfing, I came across a public grand piano at the edge of a square. I sat down and played the piano for a long time. It was out of tune, but not badly enough that it couldn't express a song. Alone, I played. Later, my couchsurfing host showed me hours of YouTube videos of Palestinian civilians rioting. The videos presented the civilians as pretending to get hurt during these riots, with laugh tracks as each situation was debunked. We drank whiskey. I asked a lot of questions, but didn't respond with opinions of my own. He said he wished they all could get along. He defended the settlers in the West Bank. He fed me dinner and let me sleep in his bed while he slept on the sofa. He seemed lonely. The next day, the host had some friends over. They were all a decade or so older than he was, in their 50s or thereabouts, and they brought food from the nearby Mahane Yehuda market. They had more to say about Palestinians, that they enjoy sacrificing their children with suicide bombs for God, that they were animals. I listened. I ate my last supper in Jerusalem in the market that evening. I sat, eating, and watched a group of soldiers mess, laugh, order burgers and chips. They looked like sixth-year students on a school trip, but for the guns slung over their shoulders.